Peace and blessings, everybody. Yo, welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This is Karev on the line right now saying to everybody, thank you for tuning in. This episode, we have an interview with a great MC coming from the Windy City, Chicago. Stand up, Sha. We have Musa Reems on the line. And we're going to have a good conversation about not only hip hop, but what it means to be from Chicago and representing that culture. But before we do, we have to pay the bills. This episode is sponsored by Transparent Credit Repair, the superheroes of the financial literacy world. If you have debt and you're looking to change your financial situation, we ask that you please go to www.transparentcreditrepair.com. They are willing to help give you financial literacy and alleviate you of the stress that's burdening you. They are the superheroes of the game, so if you want to be saved, save your wallet, and save yourself from the stress of debt, contact Transparent Credit Repair. We're also partnered with Fatty's Place. If you need a virtual assistant that can help you with your social media presence and help you get your website built, please, on Instagram, contact Fatty's Place. That is FADDYSPLACE. We are also partnered with Wildfire Marketing, ran by Mr. Firejaws, an MC that knows the ins and outs of the game by not only being a participant of it, but studying the craft of promotion, marketing, and placement. You can hit him on Instagram at FIREJAWS. And lastly, we are partnered with Diamonds Entertainment LLC, ran by Lex Diamond, who wants to bring the gentleman aspect back to the game, where we talk about sports, music, entertainment, and life. So Heritage Hip Hop is a culmination of all these wonderful companies and people, and most importantly, you, the listener and the supporter of the brand. So I, once again, bring you this great interview, and after this interview, I'll come back with my commentary. So everybody, once again, thank you for listening, and let's start the show.
Peace and blessings, everybody, and welcome to Heritage Hip Hop's podcast. I have a special MC that comes from the Windy City. We back in Chi-Town tonight. Tell everybody who you are. Introduce yourself.
Well, I go by the name of Musa Reems. I'm from out west Chicago. Some people call me Drip to my Lou. You know, Frank Thomas, Swanky Beverly, Leroy Smith. We out here, I rap.
All right, I got to be honest with you. When I first saw your picture and the cover to your EP that came out, I was like, all right, this is going to be a little different. And the reason why is because you have a very laid back persona in how you take pictures. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. You said that. I'm like, man, laid. It's so funny because when I'm on stage, I'm very just outspoken, energetic, but when I'm not making music, I'm very laid back, and that throws people off a lot. I'm like mad quiet and reserved.
Yeah, you even said that in your music, that some people heard that you rapping, like, you, for real? Like, they couldn't get it.
Yeah, for real, which is the crazy part. I remember when I first started rapping, I started rapping in high school. I'm 22 now, so I was like 15. And I remember people was literally asking me, if that's your voice, or you just rapping over somebody else, you just moving your mouth in a video type. Like, it wasn't even my words.
That's crazy. See, hip hop is very weird like that, because hip hop is the language of expression, especially through pain and overcoming. I want to ask you something. What have you overcame that made you want to do music in the first place?
Man, that's a great question. I feel like the original thought of me making music was just me trying something new. And I was actually overcoming things in terms of like loss when I was like younger, in terms of like family or like friends, just being in Chicago. But within the last year of my life, I would say like the overcoming has been finding myself and being okay with like being alone and realizing why I started to make music. So the things that I've seen, I feel, especially going through the last life cycle I had, like 18 to 22, like you see things come and go, and then you see certain actions, like what they can have on the effect of you going day by day. And I kind of just throw that all into the music. And the reason why I feel like my music is getting better and better, because I'm finally being myself unapologetically. And I just, when I look at the way to make music and how to create, it's just me basically saying what you said. I'm taking something really ugly and making it beautiful, and that's why hip hop is dope. I remember growing up, and I'm like, man, I used to be scared to say some of the things like that I experienced or that I felt because I thought people would judge me. But when I got out that box, it just was like, this is what it is. I'm just gonna lay it all out. It's something powerful that comes with writing music and just releasing it and having the world view it outside of yourself.
Word, because you know what's deep about hip hop and about psychology is that in America, the African American or black male or Hispanic male are not taught to express themselves. So we hide our true feelings and we use the beats to express our pain. We use the beats and the genre to show the world that there's an ugly side that you're not paying attention to that you need to focus on. A lot of us say hip-hop saved our lives by doing that. How has hip-hop saved your life by giving you that creative lane?
My hip-hop has saved my life for what you just said. As a young black man, a lot of the time I feel like I'll probably get into a point where like emotional intelligence is something that's very important to me. But I feel like a lot of like black men know what being emotional is or being able to express feelings, but we don't have the opportunity to do that because one day if you're not calm and you a black man, that could like turn into something very, very different or like bad in the wrong situation. So basically I record all day and that's how I transform what I'm doing into something that's way more beautiful and just an art form. I'm in a group called Dumb Intelligence, so I work on my solo work as Musa Reems, but for the past like 4 to 5 months, I meet up with my family basically every day. We get in the studio, we laugh, and we make hits. And that's the beautiful thing about it. You get to see people that's like you, that's not like you, experience them for who they are, and just kick it and have fun with it.
Yeah, Dumb Intelligence is something I passed off to my partners, and they was like, yo, that's a brilliant name, Dumb Intelligence.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can take it either way. How do you want people to take the title of the clique?
The Dumb Intelligence thing is, I want them to take it in their own way. That's the point of Dumb Intelligence. One day I was sitting, the collective is a big group of just friends basically. It's based in Chicago. Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, Kansas City, and NY. That's basically in Philly, our team. And we just make art. And I basically want people to look at the name and just apply it to themselves. Dumb Intelligence is 2 different words. It's an oxymoron placed next to each other. And that's basically, it's like yin and yang. Us saying basically like it's a balance to life. You got to have like good and things come with the good and bad. Things, it's not just black and white. It's a spectrum. And that's basically how we came up with the name. One day I was over at my homie house, and it was kind of funny because I was not thinking about doing collective stuff. I just had a lot of friends, and I'm like, man, I would love just to do something with them because it's great for me to do my solo work, but I know it could be something bigger than myself and just bigger than us, and we can spread this thing. And I looked at him, and I just said Dumb Intelligence, and my homie I even told him it was a group name. I didn't give no context to it, and he just started shaking his head to me. And we was like, that's it. And then I started hitting up I hit up my homies that night, and I was like, yo, I got something. And we basically started from there. My homie Woozy, who was also when we was in New York, we just was cooking and stuff. He's the other founder, and he had our original idea before we even started Dumb Intelligence to start some group stuff, but it didn't have a name. So he basically jump started that, and we just came together and we just been making music since.
And you know what? I want to ask you a question because today's hip hop is so solid on being single. And even today's society, we are so built on being individualistic that we lose the fact that we are not supposed to be individuals, that we're supposed to be members of a group. And that the hip-hop clique or the hip-hop group dynamic has went away for a very long time. How important is it for you to be part of a collective to help groom your solo skills and to be a part of a strong movement?
This is very important. The reason why we did a collective too, because when I was coming up, especially in Chicago, that's what it was. Like, not even in here, but I feel like throughout the United States and worldwide, you've seen a lot of rap crews coming up. And I feel like towards the end of the decade, you didn't really see that. And people just started doing solo stuff. And that's one of the main important things why we wanted to do it, because one of the main things when we do shows is really live. And people always say it's like a punk show because we just throwing people around it's for the culture. You feel me? And with that being said, we try to elaborate on what we do and just have fun with it. And it's important to us because we want people to realize that they can have a group of friends and they can kind of do whatever they want to. And if you got an idea what you want to do, you can execute it and turn it into something bigger. And rap needs that right now because we want people to be able to work with each other and to show love. I feel like rap is a competition, obviously, and I'm not shying away from that. And that's the cool thing about being in a group because I feel like so many rappers, the main thing focus for me is always getting better at rapping. Like that's my skill, that's my architecture, that's my sword. So when we in a room together, I got other people who good with the pen, who raw with the pen, and that pushes my pen, you know? And I think that's important when you working with other people is like not having an ego, but also pushing each other to become better. And that's the main focus of us, being open and honest and making better records each and every day. And
but you say that a lot. I'm sorry. What's that?
No, I said just spreading love amongst other people too.
Facts. But you know something? When listening to your music, even though you know the collective is strong, you always talk about standing strong on your own. There's a lot of tracks that you have when you be like, yo, don't test me. I'm not that one. Like you see me, but don't see me. You know what I mean? Right. How important is it to let people know that even though you on that microphone, don't test me? And I don't mean your manhood only. I mean even when it comes to the bars. How prevalent is it for you to always state your manhood to know that you do this for real and it's not no play?
I think it's important. I don't look at music as a hobby. Like we do this because we do it. I feel like I was born to make music. And that's the one thing that's been cool. I feel like the reason why I talk the way I talk on my records is because I figured out what my purpose is in life. And for a while I was trying to figure that out and doing it my own way. But once I figured out how to do it, it was just like, yo, I know who I am and this is how I feel. So that's how I make records. I feel like I express those things because people say believe in something, but I know in this and I know what I want to do and I know I want to have fun. And the one thing I always say, like that, I walk around with that type of confidence because I feel like the highest thing you can do for people is to give them inspiration, to hope, you know, and to take something and to be like, oh, I seen that he did it, so I can take an action and I can make it come into fruition for myself. And that's the thing. It started off as me just doing that for myself. Then it was my homies. Then it's people that I don't know. And I think that's the beautiful thing about art because the thing that we want to do with Dumb Intelligence and like this Musa Reems and like all of this is that I want to make something and we want to make something so great that 25 years from now, 30 years from now, somebody else going to be able to look at it and make something even better because we made classics that great. And that's the main goal.
Elevating the culture.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you. But see, you said something that really struck a chord in me, and it was about not only legacy, which is very important to me when it comes to talking to any artist. It was the fact of making your name. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to tell you a quick story. There was a guy in the Bible, right, during the wars between Greece and Israel, and he fought under the army of Judah Maccabee. Ever heard these stories?
No.
Yeah, these are stories that they took out the Bible. It's called the Apocrypha. It's the book of the Maccabees, right? So to make a long story short, this man was jealous of Judah Maccabee because Judah Maccabee was the general of Israel. Judah Maccabee, I think, means the hammer. Like he was the one who was fucking Greece up, right? And the guy was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a name for myself too. Fuck him. I'm gonna be somebody too. And I see hip-hop follows a lot of those patterns that there's some people who's called to be great on the mic and there's other people who's called to be great in their movement. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The moral of the story is that the guy said, I'm going to make a name for myself so everybody remembers me in history as a great general. And what he did was during the fight when the Grecians and the Persians were riding on elephants, he rode under the elephants and cut their Achilles and their calves. Right. And he was squashed by an elephant. So his name did live on, but it wasn't for being a great general. It was being an idiot but got crushed by an elephant.
Right.
Taking that in terms of hip-hop, we always talk about being great and having legacies. What do you do to procure your legacy so that it's strong and not seen as just another rapper who failed doing hip-hop?
just spreading love, to be honest. I know it like that's like mad cliche, but everything I do is just rooted in making sure seeing everybody else win. And I think when you do that, it's no question what you're doing it for. And I'm gonna be real too. I make music because I love it. Like even without like legacy and all of that, I still would be making music because that's how much I love making music, and that's how much I feel fulfilled while making music. And I think that's why, in order to secure legacy, that's what I'm doing. I think people can feel that and they can see it. And when you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, it's dope because I want other people to have that same feeling of fulfillment, whatever that may be for themselves. I find it through music. Other people can find it through whatever their purpose is or the medium that they love. And that's how legacy sticks for us. And it's the same thing with Dumb Intelligence. When we came up with that name, I'm like, this is what we want to be remembered for, you know? It's not only being in 2019, but the same thing with Wu. And like I grew up on rap crews like Wu-Tang. The first album I had on my iPod was Into the Wu, 36 Chambers.
That's a game changer. Yeah.
Right. And I was just into groups like Helter Skelter. I was a huge Sean Price fan growing up. D.I.T.C.
You're very East Coast, and I'm going to talk about that later. I could tell though.
Yeah. I was just really into that type of stuff. It was very jiggy to me, and that's the same thing we doing with Dumb Intelligence in our own way. I feel like what was so amazing about those people is that they did it in their own way while spreading the knowledge that they had and the skill that they had, and that's why they left something behind for people to be talking about. That happened in the 90s, you know, and that's just an example of something that happened because it's way more broad than that. And we doing the same thing, basically, just realizing what we want to do and just having fun with it.
Word. I could tell how much you love music by one of your tracks. One of my favorite tracks that you have is called Best Regards. Tell me about that.
Word. Man, that's so funny you said that too, because we even talking about that track. It's I just write sometimes, and I just write about what I live, man. That's the best way I can put it. That song is just me writing about Chicago, like just growing up as a young dude in Chicago, seeing things, and sometimes not understanding why you go through certain things, but still leveling up through those. And Best Regards is the reason why I named the song that, because the EP To Whom It May Concern is basically a letter. That's how you open up letters. So I was like, I feel like throughout the project and the EP, it kind of, the opening track is like an intro. It kind of guides you. It's like easy listening. But towards the end, I want you to know, like, it's still not sweet where I'm from. And things ain't always sweet. And you just got to be able to be like, okay, this is reality, you know? And that's the one thing I want people to get from our music, that when I'm talking about some of the things you may not even know happen, but this happens to people, and people find a way to get through that and to be happy and to hope.
Word.
So that's what
you know what's deep about what you said? Let's take it back to what you said about where you from. Why when people think about Chicago, they only think about the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Black Sox, and so-called myth of black-on-black crime, when we don't talk about a lot of the illustrious things that come from Chicago, like architecture, the art itself, or even the hub of the Nation of Islam is in Chicago. So why don't we ever really focus on the tree that produced fruit, and we always look at the bad bush that's burnt? Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think you talk about psychology, like people tend to focus. It's easy to focus on the negative rather than the positive. And the beautiful thing about my family, the people I call friends and family, is that they allow me to be positive, and they see me be happy, and they be like, we just happy. But we also, what you just said is so ironic. I'm really enjoying this conversation because we literally walk around the city and we look at the buildings and we like, yo, like that was a thought, you know what I'm saying? And somebody made that into an actual thing. Like looking at buildings, looking at the people around us, because Chicago is a cultural epicenter. You feel me? It's a lot of things that go on here. People don't realize until they get to Chicago. They're like, man, the culture is crazy, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And growing up here too, as you said, it's different organizations, it's different people that provide spaces within the community. I think is very important, and being able to go throughout those communities is very great to me. That's the thing that's cool about Chicago. I go out a lot, and I can go to like 3 or different 4 events within a day, and it'll be 3 or to 4 different communities, 3 to 4 different groups of people, and I all rock with them in their own way. And that's the beautiful thing about here. And I feel like that Chicago's not the only place that's like that. But when people start to realize that, when you can just be like, man, I don't necessarily got a whole lot in common with this person, but this person is still dope, and I'm friends with them. I think that's what Chicago has definitely taught me, specifically within like the last few months.
Word. I can't wait to go to Chicago because I've only been through the city, and all I know about Chicago that I can remember, because I went through when I was younger, is cold as shit.
Man, okay, getting back from from New York, going from Chicago to New York, it was mad cold. We got there, man. It was 60 in NY. It was man, it's cold. Siberia, you feel me?
New York colder to you?
Nah, New York warmer. I be talking about being in New York. New York don't have a wind like Chicago do, but y'all get snow a lot. Like,
yeah.
Chicago gets snow. I feel like it snow a little bit more on the East Coast than in the Midwest. It depends where you at in the Midwest.
Well, yeah, you know. Yeah, New York is about in the island. You're in NYC, so you're in the Lord of the Rings right there. That's the Game of Thrones you're at. There's nothing but bridges and water.
It's so interesting to see. I was just telling my homies, like, when you in New York, it's the weirdest place in a good way. Because it's like, it's an island, and you can tell it's an island, like, from when you land, the way it looks, and you just, recently up until this trip, I usually stay in Brooklyn or Harlem, but this is my first time staying in Queens, and I love Queens. It was so different from the rest of the city, and it was just cool to experience something different in New York. And that's the cool thing about New York, I think, too. You can be there for a long time, and each and every day you will find something new, no matter how long you've been staying there or like living there. And it's really dope.
That's true, because I mean, every borough has a different vibe to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But not even. Yeah, true. Because I mean, Spanish Harlem and Harlem, it's different. Bed-Stuy, Red Hook, Brooklyn has its own pockets. Yeah, exactly. Right. Everything has its different pockets. You know what I'm saying? But even in Chicago, y'all have an illustrious history of MCs and music and sounds that don't blend. Common don't sound like Kanye, which does not sound like Shauna, which does not sound like the Brat, which does not sound like, so many other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, they don't all sound like Musa Reems neither. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, right.
And that's what gives life to your craft. But being that you said you were heavily influenced by the East, I felt that in your music as well. You have about 3 classic songs I fuck with very heavy.
Right, thank you.
Let's start with the first one on To Whom It May Concerns, and that's about the Lynn song.
Word.
You have a video for that as well.
Yes, I do.
What made the video pop to me, not the lyrics, the video. Your optic lens changes colors throughout the entire video. See, you are a member of the anime generation. Everything is bright and it punches you, either in the eyes or emotionally. What did you want to capture with the colors in that video?
I always tell people when I make music, I don't hear it. I see it and I feel it. I kind of notice. I feel like I got synesthesia. I see colors fly around and notes. It's kind of weird. And I also see songs in color also. So when I make a project, each song in that project sounded like a different color. And I get into like painting and stuff too. So it's like me having a blank canvas. Really putting like colors that complement each other onto one. And that's how I try to make projects. So with Lens, I made that. It's the funny thing about that. I finished that before. I was in New York last year, or maybe it's like a year and a half ago. I was in there in the summertime, and I was staying in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and I had made that song. It only had a verse and a hook on it, so it had the first verse and a hook, and I was just playing it, and it was the summertime. I was just looking around, and the hook was already laid down. So I'm like, man, let me really focus on bringing this to life, because if I want people to feel the music, I want them to be able to figure out what I'm going through at that moment. And through that moment, I was just going through a lot of changes. So in the video, as you said, the colors change, and it's like I'm seeing with a different lens. And sometimes I feel like life forces you to see with a different lens, because if you keep on doing the same thing, you really cannot move forward and grow. And in that moment, I felt like that, and I was trying to capture that with that video. And my homie GP Baines, it was his first time shooting a video with me, and he's from Cali, and we shot that in Chicago. So having somebody that was not from my city, specifically from a place that was warm, I knew this could capture the color within like the scenery that I had.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a very deep question that will prove to the people who are listening that you're not the average MC. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're talking about lenses and colors, right?
Right.
Those colors have temperatures.
Right.
And temperatures are how you measure your mood and the feel of something, right?
Right.
To be able to control the temperature of your act makes you either a great artist or performer in life, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But there's a famous philosopher that says the world is a stage and everyone must play his part. That through our characters to somebody at any given time, we can be another person that other people can't see, feel, translate, or understand. When you hit the stage of life versus the stage of music, how do you control the temperature to be your best at all times and then reflect it in your sound?
While going through life, I always remind myself to be calm and positive. So I always think about making moves too. And in terms of like being active, I think what people don't realize, the definition of life is moving. Like everything moves. The waves, the water always moving. You look into the sky, clouds moving. The sun changing or the spot that it's in the sky. Then the moon replaces it. So it's just like keeping steady and like steady growth. So I take that same mentality into my music. I try new things. It's not really a thing where like, I want to be different from everybody, but I feel like what people don't realize is that you find that when you just be yourself and you just focus on being yourself while creating art and just living life. So I just basically go through it with an open mind, and I know I'm gonna make mistakes too, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Because sometimes things don't happen the way I want them to happen, but instead of me just giving up or like bad mouthing somebody or like doing that, I just look at it like, oh, this taught me something. And that's how I approach music. Because sometimes I make songs I may not necessarily know how I want to operate on it and to write on it or to, make a song. But I sit with it for a little bit or I rewrite something where it sticks the first time. And that's the beautiful thing about like life in general to me and making music. Because you get to figure out what your strengths are and your weaknesses, and then you can build on them.
I like how you said that because when I went through your project, Gamma Quietus, the song New Me stood out to me. How does that relate to what you just said?
I feel like every day I'm a new me, to be honest. Sometimes it's wild to reflect. I'm a person that reflects a lot. I read a lot too. So I try to focus on picking up things that I wouldn't necessarily pick up because I feel like it's so cool to learn. I feel like whenever we learn in this world, it has to be like, oh, I got to take a test. Or I gotta learn like a new thing so I can pursue it professionally. And sometimes I just like to learn just to learn and just to get new information. And that's basically what new me is. Like I feel like if you ask somebody who I was yesterday, it'd be an added element or an added level to who I am today because I learned something new each and every day.
Facts, because you know what? We always say that people are not consistent. Like they always change. You know what I'm saying? We contradict ourselves. And contradiction is a part of life because that shows growth in a lot of different terms.
Right.
One of the greatest MCs in hip hop is Jay-Z, correct?
Correct.
And I remember Jay-Z went at Nas and said, what you trying to kick knowledge? And then Jay-Z dropped 444. You know what I'm saying? So that would have been a contradiction of his life if he stayed back into the Dope the Rock, Diamond, all that stuff, and he didn't mature as a man that taught the world through his example and his experience, right?
Right.
I can tell you take notes from some of the greats, because Jay-Z had a song called 22 Twos, and you have a song called 44 Fours.
Yeah.
Tell me about 44 Fours and how that came about.
It came because of Jay-Z 22 Twos. I like listening to music. The cool thing about hip-hop, I rarely tell people this, but when I first started rapping, I used to pretend. I was telling into punchlines. Mm-hmm. So whenever I would write, it was like I was battling Big L. That's how I would tell if my verses was hard. I'm like, if Big L body me, then it's trash. So I started just following like more and more people. And Reasonable Doubt is one of my favorite albums. So I was just listening to 22 Twos one day, and it's just a great concept to me, like what Jay did. And I was like, what if I did that with 4 and just made it 44 fours? It's taking like, it's as I said, like taking things that people done within history and trying to like expand on it. And I want people to do the same thing with my art. And that's how you know it's classic, because that came out in 96, Reasonable Doubt. I wasn't even born yet, but I still, you know what I'm saying, that influenced me. So that shows you how great of an MC, how great of a visionary Hove is.
You know what?
And
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, keep going, because you just inspired me. Go ahead.
I got a song called Lingo on that same project, and that
And
song
that's
was
the Big
inspired
L
by,
joint. Like
yeah,
Ebonics.
that was,
Yeah, I know.
exactly, yep. So during that time, yeah, I was just very, exactly. That was, I was inspired by Ebonics, and I made Lingo. I made it for Chicago. Like, I'm not from New York, so as you said, Chicago is like very similar in a way where it's people who from different places, different neighborhoods, different parts of the city. They got their own sound. So I'm just doing it in my own way.
And yo, now, like I said, it's refreshing to have somebody hear your music and vibe with you, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's from we've been soul searching lately, volume 2. Am I saying it right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Lately I've been soul searching.
Yes, and that's a great project. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I want to ask you is, you said about classic and touching people, right?
Right.
On Heritage Hip Hop, I have a talk show. It's called the Mic Council.
Mm-hmm.
And on the Mic Council, we have an episode called "What's the Difference Between Classic Music and Timeless Music?"
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do you define classic music versus timeless music?
I never really looked at it as a different thing, but I guess you could. Timeless with me is never. It can be a century from now, like, and people still gonna be talking about it. I feel like classic is something that probably lasts like probably 5 to 10 years, maybe, or within that moment, and people it changed. I wouldn't even say that. Maybe classics changed the direction of music. I wouldn't even say you know what I'm saying. I would say that a classic is something that changes the way everybody starts to make music. And timeless music is something that somebody can listen to all the time. But like, it's going to always be there and people can listen to it. But a classic is something that's so abstract and so different at that moment in time that it literally shapes and forms a new generation of music or a genre or subgenre.
That's very deep that you said that, because I believe, and this is just me, I would encourage you to watch the show on Heritage Hip Hop on YouTube. Everybody that's going to listen to this. Classic music isn't timeless music, and certain timeless music is classic. But when we look at classic could be subdivided and timeless can't, because you have cult classics and you have mainstream classics.
Right.
If I look at Common's album, because he's from Chicago, we're just keeping Chicago right now, he has an album called I Used to Love Her. Is that what it is? No, Resurrection.
It's Resurrection. I Used to Love Her is
the first single. That's a classic album, but it will never be timeless. Wow. But I Used to Love Her, like I said, it's a cult classic song, but it won't be classic all over hip-hop depending on who you listen to. Michael Jackson's Thriller is a classic album, but every song on there is not timeless. What makes Musa Reems classic?
I would say what makes me classic is what I'm talking about is always going to be relevant. I feel like I talk about things that people going to be able to relate to no matter what time we live in the world. And what I'm talking about ain't only current, but it's in the future, it's in the past. It's something that people can relate to. And I feel like when you relate to something, it no matter where you come from, if you paint the picture vivid enough, everybody can see what you're talking about from a lens. They don't have to live it. And I think that's the beautiful thing about music too. And I think that's what makes me classic.
Word. In today's generation of hip hop, we have a lot of people that drop music, but they're dropping at an EP rate. Why did you drop To Whom It May Concern with 4 songs, and you have a past project that was a little more? What was the motivation to dropping like that?
To be real with you, I feel if I feel like making 12 to 13 songs, they have come together. I just go with the flow. I know people don't like hearing that, but that's how life is to me. I feel like I feel like creativity and thought is something that's endless. So sometimes a record will come into to existence, and I think I want to make a full project out of it, but it's not. The sound of the record isn't going in that direction. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be this certain amount of songs. Sometimes I make songs and they just kind of got a similar feel and a flow to them. And I usually come up with titles first and then decide that, but I really focus on making as much music as I can possible. And basically just moving from there and just like, okay, this is what I want on the record and this is what I think does not fit.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a very hard critic of hip-hop. I don't fuck with everybody, and I'll tell you I don't like your music. I really tell people, I don't really care how people feel either. But the point of the matter of me saying that is, when I hear good music, it really is refreshing. And there's certain people that I actually have certified and put my stamp on. I really feel that you have the ability to be special. And then I remember watching the 5 Heartbeats. There was a moment in the movie where the writer told Duck would be a better writer when he actually feels, like when he has to go through something to open his heart up and his understanding. I think Musa Reems would be a better artist when he not only retreats outside of himself, he brings the outside into himself. What does that mean to you?
I get what you're saying. Like, I feel like making music it's important because you want to talk about what you're feeling, but that's the beautiful thing about traveling too. You see what's the outside. That's not you. And that's why I know my music is getting to the point where I want it to get to. Because sometimes I see things and I may not have experienced it, but it's being able to tell that story. And I think it's people like that I've listened to that do that in a great way. And I see myself becoming that artist where it's people I feel like music is universal because art imitates life. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be as vulnerable as possible. And I'm not going to lie. When I've been making music, for like the last couple months, it's been so scary for me because I've never been this vulnerable. And when you be this vulnerable on record, people haven't heard these records yet, but when you being this vulnerable, it's like, man, you just don't know what people gonna think about. But it feels so fulfilling and so refreshing because I literally let something go, and I let something out that was inside of me, but also that I've experienced from the outside and people have seen and they have gone through in their own lives because it's something so common. And I'm just excited about the future because for the first time while making music, I've been uncomfortable. And that's how I see myself making classic material. And what you just said, writing things that's outside of me. Because people literally come up to me within the last month and say, you a different person. And it's crazy because I feel like I was so scared to take the risk I am now and to do the music I'm making. But when I finally just had a thought in a different direction, it was like, you know what, I can do this, and I really don't care how it's viewed because this is how I felt, and this is what I believe in, and I think that's why it's gonna make a strong move. And I'm doing it with people that believe in it too, and people that show love. And we not only gonna do this for ourselves. Like it's a DI dumb intelligence thing, but this gonna be a global thing where we bring people together, and people gonna be able to live their dreams too.
Word. My man, you are one of the few fresh faces that I've been introduced to that I walked away with very happy, you know. And I'm not anybody's fan, believe me. I don't co-sign fanship, but I am and will be a supporter of your movement. And I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. And when the next time you come over this side, bring your ass to Jersey, bruh, so I can introduce you to some of these great producers and MCs out here that always look for great talent to work with.
I would love to do that because Jersey's so slept on, man, in terms of what y'all do. Y'all go crazy for real. And I would love to
we do.
Touch down just touch down and definitely experience what y'all got because y'all got legends.
Yes, we do. And we have people who are great that maybe you have not even heard of, and I'll share their links and music with you, and then you may hear something that blows your mind, you know?
Right. And that's the real part.
So drop your social medias and tell everybody the projects you got out, and then we're going to finish out with the rapid fire questions.
Got you. My name is Musa Reems. You can follow me everywhere. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, website, all of that at MusaReems. Thank you for having me. We out here. And I got a project called To Whom It May Concern out right now. Check that out on all streaming services. Got visuals coming out from that pretty soon, and I'm in a group called Dumb Intelligence. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at DI Collective _. That's DICOLLECTIVE _. We got new music coming out this year.
Yeah, man. I hope you do a visual for zombies because that sounded interesting.
Thank you.
I like zombies. All right, so it's time for the rapid fire questions, man. You ready for this?
Yep.
Okay, so these are not yes/no questions, and I don't ask questions like, what's your favorite color, who do you want to have sex with, and do you watch Love and Hip Hop? Because I personally don't care. These are questions. These are questions that are based on you as an MC and you and your growth and understanding of hip hop culture. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Question number 1. Who's the most impactful artist in hip hop that has changed your life? And when I say artist, it does not have to be a rapper, but if it is, please share.
The most influential artist that changed my life is A$AP Rocky.
Oh, how so?
I was very into the whole New York at the beginning of the decade of 2010. So Beast Coast. So that was Beast Coast was like Joey Badass, Flubber Zombies, UA. I was into Tan Boys. They was up in Harlem. It was a lot of stuff going in New York. World's Fair was in Queens. And then you had A$AP in Harlem. And I was just watching videos on YouTube. It was the same. Drill was happening in Chicago. And it was so cool because that wasn't what New York was making. So I was just interested because it was different. And I basically was watching the videos, and my pops had seen me look at them. And Pitchfork is thrown, it's a music festival thrown every year in Chicago on the west side at Union Park. And my pops was just like, he had seen in the paper that A$AP Rocky was here. He's like, I've been seeing you watching the videos, so you want tickets to go see him. So I ended up going to see him, and I was like, I can rap too. My homie was with me, and I was like, I can do that. I went back to my block, rapped him some bars, and we started making music that day. So
that's dope. That's dope. Okay. So here's where the fun begins. You ready for this?
Yeah.
What's the best hip-hop beat ever made? Meaning, if that person never came out with that beat, it would be your first single.
Man, that's a great question. Oh, man. That's a good question. It's supposed to be rapid. All right, let me think. I would say Biggie, Who Shot You?
Ooh, so I'm gonna get a freestyle with you on the Who Shot You beat.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That would be dope. That's why I ask the questions, because I push people to be their best.
Yeah.
You see anything that?
Too.
Okay, what up with Mobb Deep? What else?
Yeah, I love Mobb Deep.
Which one? From Mobb Deep?
Survival of the Fittest was really dope.
Oh, now you digging into your bag right now. That's some classic, authentic stuff.
Yeah, that's okay.
So in today's climate of hip hop, everybody's friends, which I don't like. I don't like to see men kissing and hugging each other and being friends. You know what I'm saying? So back in the day, when people were more solitary, it was a treat to hear somebody do a song with each other. Do you know how amazing it would have been to hear Rakim, KRS-One, and Big Daddy Kane on track together?
Yeah,
it would have been amazing. But in this generation, everybody's doing a song. And I did an interview with Bumpy Knuckles. If you ever know who he was, he dropped the classic So Tough, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Bumpy Knuckles said a lot of people do songs where they're not even supposed to be on a track with each other because they don't fit each other's styles or the beats that they're being given.
Right.
I ask you this. If you can put together your perfect track, who would be the features on your track and who would do the music, dead or alive?
That's a dope question. Okay, so production, if anybody I can get to produce, I would love to rap over a Dilla track, a Dilla or Knife Wonder. That's always been like a dream of mine. Or Primo. I love Primo too. So let's say Primo. I'm gonna say Primo. Primo production. Me. In terms of rappers,
or anybody you want.
I would want to do something weird. So I would want to do like a Benny the Butcher, like Tierra Whack, and I have one more person from like the past, and MF Doom.
You have a very eclectic ear, my man.
Yeah, I like music, man. I try to listen. In terms, that's just rap too, but Yeah. In terms of rappers, that would be cold. That would be cold.
I would love to sit down with you and just spar with you, beats and rappers and music. I would love to do that because you have very eclectic ear. So then how about this? A lot of people do songs with each other and the feature kills the person who made the track. So who had the best feature of all time?
The best feature of all time?
Yeah, the best Get 16 ever.
Ever. I'm going to name the first one that came to mind. I don't know if this is ever. But
sure.
Method Man and Biggie.
The what?
The what, yep. That was
so
first. That's Meth was, he's in his bag on that track.
So let me ask you a question. How long did it take you to find out that the verses overlapped? Because Biggie was spelling Method Man's name, and the meth came in too early and finished the name out before Biggie finished the verse.
To be honest, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, at the end of Biggie's verse, he says, and me. But Method Man comes in THOD, man. And then when he did There I Am, that's when Biggie says, and me. So the verse didn't match, so they overlapped. And Biggie and Method Man was spelling his name to come into the verse.
That's dope.
That's a little hip-hop info for you.
Yeah, man, that's dope.
Okay. All right, so here's the next question I ask you. The remix is a part of hip-hop history where we either change the beats to the songs or we redid the whole song to make a new sound for a song.
Right.
What's the greatest hip-hop remix of all time to you?
Like in terms of samples or just...
whatever you want to answer. It doesn't matter. This is your answer.
Through the Wire, Kanye West, because I'm a huge Shaka Khan fan, and my pops played Shaka Khan growing up, and to hear him flip that and making it to something about him literally almost dying and making it into something beautiful is really dope to me.
That's interesting. So you took the remix question as a part of re-looping a song and making something different. Okay, that's dope. Last two questions, and I thank you for this interview once again. Thank you. The second to last question is, what is the greatest hip hop album of all time? I mean, you can hear it every day for the rest of your life and not get old. What's that?
Mad Villainy by Madlib and
that's a great fucking album. My God, I can't wait to meet you.
Man, I can listen to that album. Okay, I listened to that. The first time I heard that album probably was 2020. I would say probably like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But that album still sounds like it's in the future, and it's 2020. That's what I love about that album. It sounds like they made that in like 2010.
That's crazy. Bro, I can't wait to meet you, yo. That was dope. I have a partner. His name is Blues 360 on A Squad Rebel Radio. You can check out A Squad Rebel Radio also. 8 p.m. Sundays. He goes through his greatest albums and stuff, and I think y'all two would get together and just go ham. He's putting me up on Madlib. So that Madlib and Freddie Gibbs album that just came out, bro, that shit is incredible.
Hard.
Yeah, it's incredible, yo.
Yeah.
So as excited as I am talking about their music, I get excited talking about your music as well. So here's my final question. Here's my final question to you. One day you're not going to walk the earth anymore, and I'm sorry to say that one day your inspiration is going to leave us because you're going to die one day, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have a digital blueprint, you have a physical blueprint in videos, and you have a musical footprint where people can always go back and see that Musa Reems existed. Right. How did you make the world better? What is your legacy in making the world better by doing music and being the man that you are? What did you teach the world to make it better?
I taught everybody that everybody can succeed. I feel like in the world, we get taught that it always has to be that one person that fails. And I don't believe in that at all. I believe that everybody got a purpose. And it's about I was always taught to be a leader. I was born to lead. I was born to lead people. I was born to give people hope. And I was born to make people happy, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to leave behind. And I want people to be able to fulfill their dreams. Everybody got a dream that's worth living.
And man, I'm so thankful that the Most High made you and that you're living your dream and you're inspiring the world right now. Thank you for this interview, and I pray to talk to you many times over, okay?
Same here. Appreciate you, man.
Once again, this is Karev saying thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast featuring Musa Reems. Make sure you go check out his project, To Whom It May Concern, out right now on all music streaming platforms. you can stream it, but purchase and support the artist. If you would like to support Heritage Hip Hop, you can follow us on all social medias under Heritage Hip Hop. We have a website, www.heritagehiphop.com, where we are the real estate of the independent artists from New Jersey and worldwide. And right now, we are featuring Out the Mud Music Group and their classic mixtape, The BC Era, with hits like It's Lit, Soul Food, and the new visual and single out right now, Again It's On. If you would like to be supported by Heritage Hip Hop, please get in contact with us. www.heritagehiphop.com. Also, if you would like to donate and support us that way, we are at Cash App at $KAREVYAH. That's $Karevya on Cash App. If you'd like to help us by wearing apparel and you want something from Heritage Hip Hop's apparel store, go to www.storefrontier.com/Heritage Hip Hop. We are revamping the store and we have some new things coming, so please keep watch and make sure that you get something that you like. Once again, this is Karev from Heritage Hip Hop signing off. We thank you. And as the heritage of hip hop, we go on to embed not only the culture, but to support you, the listener, and the person who keeps the culture alive. So to everybody out there that's listening, we say peace, and we out.